in all sorts of medias. And as the person rightly says, if this was an attack on women, there would be an outcry. And I don't think men complain enough about the abuses and insults that are aimed at them.
These adverts are sexist, they're degrading, and it would be an uproar if it was the other way around.
Well, of course there'd be an uproar if the other way around. I think what Roger's missing is the irony here. The sense of humour works because it's subverting what has always been the norm. We've had so many adverts which have portrayed women as stupid, silly victims. This is the whole, by reversing it, that's what gives the humour. I mean, I do have to worry about what kind of people have been complaining about these adverts. You know, how many of them wear cardigans? You know, it's kind of, I think for men to now say, oh, it's dreadful, we're victims. You know, you're not an oppressed minority. You've still got the upper hand. And I think, you know, you should just chill out a little and learn to laugh at yourselves a little. It's
men doing it against men on behest of women for the sake of exploitation or making money. Women now want to have the notion, they want to have the feeling that they are important, that they have got the upper hand, well, it is commonly believed now that women can do anything as far as society is concerned. And,
well, you don't believe that then, presumably?
I do believe it, that they can do anything.
You see, you're coming across to me as like a terribly kind of, without wishing to be incredibly rude, but very wimpy here. You are coming across that way.
If you want to call me wimpy, you may.
All we want is to enjoy ourselves a little and meet our
little terms. I just want to have a quick look at one of the actual adverts, which wasn't one of the television cinema adverts. This is one of the adverts on billboards that we've got. I hope. Yes, put the boot in. Actually, I must say, to be honest, I didn't understand that advert when I first saw it. I thought it was an advert for boots, and then I didn't quite get the gist of the fact that it was for jeans. I still don't quite understand. I would have thought that would be almost as attractive to an awful lot of men who pay good money for that kind of behaviour. You know, as many women, it's a joke. It's like, you know, my goodness, life is dull enough without trying to eradicate all sorts of jokes because of this is sort of political correctness. It's warped slightly.
Well, that's not true, because if it was a woman, a naked woman, if you were naked there and a man was putting a boot on you...
But isn't that the point? I mean, the point is the fact that, unfortunately, it's all too common, men putting the boot into women, whereas actually, you know, how many times do we hear about women beating up men?
It isn't. This is a fallacy. There are more women who beat up men than there are men who beat up women.
I'd love to see the figures on that one.
Yes, you can see it, only they're suppressed. Everything is suppressed. We have a feminist media that promotes everything towards women.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Yes, we do.
You're a professional victim here, you know? I think if you talk to the vast majority of women, I mean, absolute majority, yes, we might think that girl power is here and that women have got the upper hand. How many women actually sit by that phone and wait for it to ring for some guy to call them? We all do it. Men have got the upper hand. You'll always have
Men do have the upper hand, but I'm not a professional victim. I'm a professional person who helps people who are victims. Victims who are male, victims who are females, victims who are children, victims who are old people. And everything that is going on now in our society is turning the people who aren't able to speak for themselves into victims.
Well, let's just have another quick look at another advert that we've got, another billboard advert. The Micra Ask Before You Borrow It, and a man obviously being kicked somewhere where it hurts because he took out her car.
Well, there you are, you see, that's supposed to be funny. But if somebody attacked a woman, it's not funny.
I'm sorry, I did find that one quite amusing.
No, if somebody attacked you, kicked you in the genitals, hit you in the chest.
But as I said, I mean,
you wouldn't think that was funny at all.
But as I said, I mean, jokes in general, you know, if you actually sort of, you know, analyse them, are jokes very funny anyway? I mean, often jokes, when you tell people jokes, they often involve quite hideous things happening to people.
Yeah, that's fine, as long as it's equal, you know? Let's have some jokes at women's expense with nobody complaining.
There's been jokes at women's expense for years.
There hasn't. That's a fallacy. That's a fallacy. I'm old enough to remember the Victorian era, and I know what women were like. All these things that people talk about that women have suffered through the years are not true. My granny was a... They're not true. My granny was under 5 foot and she was a Tartar. And she had sons over 6 foot tall.
Yes, but I'm sure she had to work. I'm sure she had to sort of cook, clean,
No, she didn't.
I mean,
no, she didn't. She had servants.
Lived a life of leisure.
You can tell me you're having a hard time when you suffer from stomach cramps, from stretch marks, when you have to go into a communal changing room and try on a bikini. Then I feel really sorry for you. Until then, you haven't got a leg to stand on.
And on that note,
that's bogus.
We're going to have to leave it. Thank you very much from Larry Turner and Roger Williams. Thank you.
I have all those symptoms. Stomach cramps, stretch marks. Every morning doing this. No,
and have you ever tried on a bikini in a communal changing room, though?
That's another story. But, I mean, some of these ads, I think we miss also another point, that some of them are just rude. Some of them are just rude.
Which ones? Did you find any of those particularly?
Well, I think with kids about and things, I think some of them are just quite embarrassing sometimes. Some men are very shy, you know, and blush at things like that.
Do they? They still buy the sun,
Look at
don't
Laurie
they?
Turner. Yes, but that's another story. 24 minutes past the hour. A very good morning to you. We've got...
Scooping a top prize at the MTV Awards, last week life couldn't have been better for the Fab Five.
Apart from this being the best day in our lives, this is about girl power.
The award was the latest jewel in the Spice Girls' crown. 5 #1 singles out of 5 bettering the Beatles. Spice World, the album, topping the charts. And with #1 hits around the world, princes and presidents were quite literally queuing up to meet them. But this week has their pop crown begun to slip. Here are some of the Spice facts the girls would prefer us to forget. The latest single was only at #1 for a week. They sacked manager Simon Fuller, the man who'd helped them amass a reported £30 million. And now rumours are rife about a split because of friction between baby Spice Emma and Jerry. Added to that, marketing moguls say with the perfume, the crisps and the t-shirts, to name but a few, it's Spice overdose. And then there are the newspaper polls. Which Spice Girls you hate the most? Is it a hiccup or is it a crisis for the pop princesses?
Right, the story so far. Here to bring us the next chapter, the Daily Mirror's Matthew Wright, who says Spice are running out of steam, and Peter Lorraine. Peter is the editor of Top of the Pops magazine, who says that the fans are still Spice crazy, as it were. Well, Matthew Wright, first of all, we go to your paper, The Mirror, today. And you have, look at that, front page. We've got Jerry there, and you call her introducing irritating Spice. Now, that's a little bit petty. What has got you so annoyed with the Spice Girls?
I think if I hear the word girl power once more, I will pull my eyes out. I've had enough. And I think there's plenty of evidence around now to suggest that certainly the British public is beginning to feel the same way. And we did decide to do a test, having found out that we did a test the day before where it was, are you fed up with the Spice Girls? And we got an incredibly strong reaction there, sort of 70% of readers saying they were. So we thought, well, which Spice Girl, you know, really gets up your nose? And I'm afraid it was Jerry Halliwell, almost by a mile, but very quickly followed up by Posh Spice Victoria.
But it's a bit of a one-way question, isn't it? I mean, there's no way out. Which is the most irritating Spice Girl? And do you think that's a representative poll then, Peter?
How many people actually phoned up and...
2,775. I just happen to have it here.
There we go.
Right, OK, I think we need to look at the facts here. And if you think of how many people went out and bought this new Spice Girls album in the first week, it's 200,000 people then, I think.
Not quite, actually. It was 191,000, which was less than The Verve by 70,000. And let's face it, I would think most average pop pickers don't really know much about The Verve.
I think that the average #1 album sells under 100,000 copies, though, doesn't it? So
yeah.
I don't think that we can say that their success is dripping off just because they're...
You see, is this the public getting fed up with them, or is this the newspapers? Because people will say they can set their watch by you guys, you build them up and you knock them down.
Well, I think if you look at the figures again, when the album sales came out for the first week, the actual share price of EMI, which is the company which owns Virgin, plummeted by 15 pence straight away. So there's clearly the city are looking at it and thinking, well, maybe, you know, the girl power movement has run out of steam. And I also think, you know, there has been an undeniably large amount of hype. We've had sort of nothing but glowing and positive praise for the Spice Girls for so long. And I think people are just getting a little bit more cynical about it, and that it's just all seems to be going through that classic rock and roll scenario where the girls or that band starts to think they're bigger than the manager gets the boot, and all of a sudden the sort of cracks start appearing.
What sort of significant development is this, Peter, that the manager has been given the red card?
I think, I mean, we both saw the girls on Sunday, didn't we, at the audience with the Spice Girls, and it was kept very quiet. They didn't actually talk about what has actually gone on, other than the fact that he's left and they've sacked him. That is all that we know. We don't know who's stepping in to take over. I mean, there are rumours that they're going to do it themselves, aren't there?
And do we definitively know why he has left?
I don't think there's actually one particular reason. I mean, there's been rumours going around that there was some kind of relationship developing between Simon and Baby Spice, Emma Bunton. But there's also another telltale scenario there, which is that when you actually look at the percentage earnings that the girls were getting 16% each, and Simon Fuller was getting 20%. And I don't think it takes long for you to start to think,